Hello, we are back. We're about halfway through the third case. I think, about halfway. So hopefully we can get it finished in this stream and do the... God, what are they called? Escapades? I always forget. Right, we left off in the break between sessions. Like court sessions, I mean. And it was the carriage, and we'd figured out that there was somebody else in the carriage. It was a young girl, apparently, who was in the courtroom in the audience. And after it was kind of revealed that she might be in the audience, she set off some smoke bombs, I think it was, and has tried to escape. So we're in an intermission while the court tries to grab her and then clear up all the smoke and all that jazz. So let's jump back into it. I have forgotten most of the voices I was doing, so yeah, you get to reinvent every character's voice. Right, the Old Bailey defendant's antechamber. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like some sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGillicuddy was talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGillicuddy, actually? There were so many things I needed to ask him about, but not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer some questions. Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what is she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk. And for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Huh? Oh, According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night, at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, please proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say. It could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Mr. Sato. Yes. I think it's the judge's voice that I can't remember. Oh, we'll see. That's the young girl. I was actually expecting it to be the girl on the cover with the pink hair. Her, in the bottom left. I thought it was going to be her. Like the introduction of her character. Huh. Okay, fair enough. There's a young girl next to Mr. McGillicuddy. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after a rather eventful recess, the court will now resume with the trial of Mr. Magnus McGillicuddy. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. Oh god, deep voice. My lord. I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army.
Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name?
It was an elaborate attempt by the young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught, and now occupies the stand.
Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom?
I'm gonna have to come up with a voice for her as well.
What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
Oh God, I didn't really settle on a voice for him, did I? It started Irish and then just evolved into whatever the fuck, didn't it? Ahem, if I may, my lord.
Yes, Mr. McGilded.
I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why is it that this wee lass here is in... Why is it that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that? It's all tied with the events of that night, so it seems.
Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case.
Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Witness testimony. The young girl. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. And then, begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up from a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up in the seat across from me. Okay, I did wonder about that, because we've seen like two different descriptions of like the body being in two different like positions in the carriage, and there hasn't been an explanation as like to which one was correct or how they got from one to the other. So like he's finally now putting that together for us. Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from. And bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. We're going to have to press him on that one, because he's going to have to explain about the under the seat, the storage space.
I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct?
It is exactly as the defense counsel said. This lass is the fifth passenger, my lord.
Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. I love that look he does when he looks to the side. He looks so fucking clueless, it's awesome. It's like a kind of look. Why aren't you saying anything? Night question, took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. No we scream. Okay, you know what, let's just go through and press off. No, you know what, let's... I know which one I want to press. You say she was hiding herself. Aye, that's right. 'Twas hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. The seat opposite. That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there.
You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir.
Well, I'm sure I mentioned. A gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fellow's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly.
In other words, previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason.
Aye, my lord. They're wearing totally different hats, though. Yeah, that it still hides her face, but I'm pretty sure that Mr. First said, like, he was wearing a top hat, I think. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight.
It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl.
After that, of course. With the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Okay, so it's gonna... I thought I'd get more information out of that. I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Naruhodo. Being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself as stunned being the defendant's lawyer and finding myself as stunned as everyone else in this testimony. Let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilded before the trial. But we mustn't be dispirited. We just have to try and learn all the facts we can. When we arrived in London this morning, I didn't see my day panning out like this. Mr. Naruhodo, no grumbling, even in your head.
How did you know?
Alright, back to the start. Alright, tell me about you nodding off. When you first got into the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? That's actually a good question. No, we're not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either.
You were the first passenger, as it were, I see.
Aye, and that's why I took the back seat, the backside as I did. It is the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means, 'tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, it's the most comfortable, and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Why are you being so quiet? The scream? A loud thud, you say? And the scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. But when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone? But at the same moment, did you hear a scream?
From the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume.
Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. Okay. About removing the body. You set him up? The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? It is common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Ah, Lord Van Sakes. And now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business.
The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest.
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting we're just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same?
Yeah. The scream he says he heard from it at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing.
Okay. Press. Yeah, because we need to find out where she was hiding in the cabin. But if the seat with the hidden compartment under it for the storage was the one he was sitting on, and I'm presuming she's going to was hiding inside there.
How could she have gotten out to do the deed? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim.
So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is.
What do you mean by that?
Well now, it is a queer thing. A wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse my vulgar expression, under me backside.
Good gracious.
Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there a wee cubby hole there for storage.
Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember?
Yes, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence.
This would be a very good time to have a look through, a thorough look around inside.
That's when I found her. And we found that cubby hole.
Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl?
Her name is Gina Lestrade. Oh, Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among the large crowds, rather than relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. Really? Lestrade and this is going to be a pickpocket? Alright.
It's a bit of a change for the character.
What?
This girl here, a petty thief. Order, order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question.
Oh, what the fuck?
How dare you? What is the meaning of this?
Oh, she's doing a runner. Oh, they'll fuck him out.
The girl, she's gone.
Open your eyes. Oh, that was her speaking. Open your eyes, I'm over here.
Good gracious, how?
What's the point of that little sidestep?
I know what you're thinking. Grown-ups are all the same.
This dirty little dippy, you'll say. slipped up and got a cup on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? I don't know why I'm giving them like an American, like a New Yorker kind of accent. No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast. Ugh. Look, names are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, all right. Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride on what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in the bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best.
Ugh, don't wave that thing in my direction again.
Why did they not take that off of her?
So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question?
It is alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. Just like that Irishman said. Oh, he is Irish. I was right originally, huh?
The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. Will you tell the court exactly what happened on the omnibus on the night in question?
Alright, if I have to. Testimony. What she saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a ride all west of town. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that damn hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin, I did. And the scream just came out. It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. How did you get away? Yes, he let you go.
I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh god, do I have to try and pretend to do a Irish accent? Oh god. Order simply itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. Yeah, you were sitting on top of the thing. She couldn't have gotten out to... I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for.
Oh, I think a demonstration is called for. It was the judge that was speaking.
This is where I sat that night.
And the cubbyhole of which you spoke of is underneath this seat, I presume.
Yep, we found that earlier.
Yes. It does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Aye, but of course the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I'd packed myself on the seat for the duration.
Ah.
So you see, that's why I lit the last bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. And I couldn't live with myself if the young life was ruined when all... There. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your actions would result in your own innocence being called into question.
Not at all, my lord. Not at all.
I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt at my own good name for the sake of this lass's
for this less fortunate lass. My goodness.
Oh, what a perfect gentleman. My lord.
I don't remember what voice I gave this dude.
This is a fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir.
With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Alright. Zeeks, you're gonna do some absolute shit now, aren't you? You're gonna incur the same thing that I used to get us out of the guaranteed guilty thing that we had before.
Saints alive. All six members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty.
Mr. Naruhodo, this, well, it must mean... It must mean what? That we're victorious. Yeah, no. We've won? Are you sure? Objection. Here we go. What? So get your foot off the table. This is the courtroom.
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This is really a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount. Emotions rule the day.
Emotion?
The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature.
What do you mean, his true nature?
Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report.
Good Lord.
The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilder's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat.
What?
Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty.
No, it wasn't. Because we actually checked it. When we first got access to the stagecoach. And there was like some boxes and stuff inside of it.
Well, my Nipponese friend.
Me?
When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examine it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be?
Partially occupied. There was some like boxes and stuff. There was still some space in there, but I think it was like half full-ish. Oh, to be sure, young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the cot now, fella. Now this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Seeks.
Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter?
How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the cat? I wonder what happens if you didn't actually look, and you just say I didn't look. I suppose either of these would be acceptable. It wasn't empty. I wonder if the game actually tracks whether you looked in there or not. That'd be interesting. Gotta tell the truth. I really don't know if I'm giving the answer. If giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes.
Are you sure, counsel?
Bewitched? I don't know what that means. What are you saying now, you daft dog? I thought you were on my side here. Although I think that may have got us some respect from Bansigs.
What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position?
Because my job is to find the truth, goddammit. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and as honestly as possible.
Interesting.
It is not altogether pleasing, fellow. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fellow's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That their cubby hole under the seat is empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interests to now admit that you may have been mistaken? Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? Okay. Her setting off the smoke bombs had to have been like the window of opportunity for the stuff to have swiped. I don't think there was any other opportunity. Then where'd you move all the stuff to? Is there a third person involved in this? I wonder if he's got some relation to the victim. Lady first. Thrice fired Mason. Because of the weird hats. Because it's unusual that they'd have two of them with weird hats otherwise. So I wonder, maybe he's involved, but he was sat on the roof. And the other guy would have seen him. If he'd done anything. I'm not sure. I should like the jury. Wrong voice. I would like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's routes state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Burpo isn't that irresponsible. I've just realised his moustache is in the shape of a horseshoe. Well, how did I not realise that before? That money-lending fleecer and the pick purse are lying. Back into the black. I can't believe that was neatly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems.
My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, the verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate.
Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is a matter of outstanding cross-examination. Outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please.
Yes, my lord. Just what happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem.
Yes, I am.
Cross-examination. Okay. God, what did she even say? Snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. Okay, you just said snuck in like always. But that it was pitch dark in there. Shouldn't you know that it's pitch dark in there if you've done this before? So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run? Okay, just want to take a look at him. Oh god, what voice did I give her? Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point in spending a Joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, innit? I suppose she means there's no point spending money to make money. It actually makes sense.
Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief. Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants.
Well, does that clear up a little mystery of our fares at all? Well, that does clear up the mystery about the little fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing Irish voice, aren't I? 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece makes the 20 to which the cabman testified. And one little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before it's his last run, see? And that's when I slip into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right?
But your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach, no?
Oh, I thought she was going to say it, but stay quiet about that. Yeah, brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram in the corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much.
And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia.
Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could ride under the seat. That's all I can tell you.
It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue.
It was a right waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. A waste of time? Why is that? Well, most nights I'm I'm on my own in the God permit. Well, most of the time I'm on my own, God permit, at least some of the time.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon, did you just say God permit?
Oh yeah, well, that's what I can't call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's right, only that night. This cove was sat on my seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while the events unfolded in the enclosed cabin?
Yeah, right, mister? To be sure, I was shocked as anyone. You didn't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on to find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. I tell you, I can't see a blind thing into that hiding place. It's pitch in there. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up a wee, with me head, and look around with, not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with me head and look around the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at what, oh my god. The fucking slang in this is throwing me so much. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. Have a look. The seat I get under it ain't as plush as the other one, see? And most of the time the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out, I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small, dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Hobson's choice? Why doesn't she just stick to people there? Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was a bit scared and just had to stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. And after a while I hear this bang, nearly jumped out of my skin I did. And the scream just came out. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of somebody falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. You let out a scream involuntarily? That's right. And when I felt the cushion over me, it get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not?
Well, girl, did you see what happened in that crucial moment?
Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the block and what had fallen to the floor on the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGill's account, of course. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks straight at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking. It's because of that this swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. And when Mr. McGill had discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place? I was scared stiff I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit, and he ended up falling onto me. How awful. Both my hands had gotten covered in blood. It made me feel sick like a dog. Both our hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Hang on. Right, yeah, okay. Sorry. The order of events there kind of confused me a bit. They kind of jumped forward to talk about her being seen with blood on her hands. But the body fall... what she's saying is the body fell on her. She got the blood on her hands. They talked a bit. And then they were spotted. He asked me some stuff. wanted to know my name and what I was up to in that. Then I heard something up above. Someone screamed.
Oh, Harry? Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume.
Well, I didn't want to... I didn't want one seeing my face, so I didn't look up. The horses were drawn up and smartish. Oh my god. The horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away with later." All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they were all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive pieces of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we could clinch this. Yeah, I'm sure we could clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right. I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. Okay. Okay, let's have an examine of some stuff. Okay, it's not actually letting us examine anything. Okay. The fact that we have the magnifying glass must mean that there's something. It's probably the missing button. We're going to have to identify that at some point. The carriage. Examine. Let's look in here again. Can't find anything out of place. See, it has a handle, it seems. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Oh, this isn't dialogue we've had before? That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just... Well, this bloodstain is so obvious. It's so obvious, that's all. And yet, Van Ziek's made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? It's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of another passenger like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark. There was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Okay, I can't examine the lamp. There's no under access to the storage or anything. And there's the gloves that McGilded was wearing. Yeah, I don't know with this one, actually. Alright, give me a hint. Conclusive piece of evidence, yeah. I actually don't know. Did I miss something on the pressing? Was there an opportunity to switch to the other person? No, his expression isn't changing. Neither's hers. Usually it's very obvious though, isn't it? When... Oops. He's being very stone-faced. It's very clear they've kind of like discussed something in like that one had like red text at the end of it. It's just that she couldn't possibly be the person. Aha! He didn't do that last time.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? So this is her talking about being scared of being stuck in small tight places because it reminds her of jail. Oh, I do apologise. Was there something of the matter, Council? I was just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no, it was nothing important. Just feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying it was. I see, yes. I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. Ryan, I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. Miss Lestrade? Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? No, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Achievers! There's no need to be telling the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? It's profoundly important. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important.
Profoundly important, but all she said was that she heard nothing.
Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it.
I'm almost sure I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern Mind Council. Nevertheless, goddamn. A little bit of casual racism there. Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. It won't work on me. That's right, insult the judge. Always a good move. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring. Okay, press you on that. So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time, since the moment you hid yourself. Not exactly, no. Sorry? Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, I got my head down so he didn't notice me. Mr. McGill had sat in the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Would you add the Adam and Eve, eh? What a mug. No, he's pulled that face before. We can always press him again if needs be. So then all I could do was listen. I was just waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. You never heard the door open? So I just had to stay put and listen to the driving... So I just had to stay put and listening to him driving his pigs to the market, snoring like an old dog he was. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? Doesn't add up. You didn't hear the door open. Miss Lestrade, what you've just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts.
At odds? Are you sure, man?
Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I had feared. So Van Zieks realized it too.
Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least.
Yes, my lord.
I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court.
According to Miss Lestrade, whilst she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring. But think, Roineski, think. Shh. There's something else she should have heard.
Show a person. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The very sound that clearly explained the presence of the following person.
Take that!
Thrice fired, Mason.
Yes, my lord. The sound that Mr. Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus.
Order, order. Explain your reasoning, counsel.
Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus, is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded? As it was, not a soul in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight. And you were, in all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And, from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, wasn't it? Weren't it? Waiting for this swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage?
Oh,
We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she heard, or did not hear, is at odds with the facts. Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed.
Lord Van Zeeks?
Yes, he knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colourful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. Oh, juror number 4's typing like crazy on that typewriter. How could the victim have possibly not bothered? Makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl, this is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that.
Old Granny, no!
Ah, she doesn't like liars. She didn't even say anything.
I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars.
Neither can I. Mr. Foreman? I didn't want to judge the girl just because she had some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Oh, fuck. Number 2, are you going as well?
Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty.
I'll pour myself another glass. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Adman? Amadan. This is carnage, it's perfect. He just cuts his tongue open on the knife. Jury number 2 is the only one left.
Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going.
I know. if we can't find some new way to convince everyone that of Mr. McGilden's innocence, the judge will rule and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know that we must accept hard truths. Yes, the witness's last statement does seem to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case.
What are you saying?
Counsel? I'm sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate your attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once.
When the accused boarded the omnibus in the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage.
Oh, and yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage.
Yes, it was the judge that said that last one. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus?
He got on the same time as... thingy. McGilden. There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. Well, that one makes no sense. What, does it though? She'd have seen him when she got in the carriage. Yeah, that makes no sense. There's another entrance? But we established that the sunroof doesn't open. Didn't we? I'm sure I looked at this the first time. Quite large enough. Yeah. Can't be opened from the inside of the cabin, at least. Oh, there is a latch! Oh shit, okay. I didn't notice that before. There's another entrance. If the door wasn't opened even once, then the only explanation is that the victim entered through the enclosed cabin some other way.
I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other has only windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Nuh-uh.
But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really?
Yes, one other way inside the cabin that isn't the door. Another opening, to use the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin.
All right,
counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here is the omnibus on which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin? Fucking... I have to press triangle, not X. The answer is obviously It can only have been the skylight.
I say, the skylight?
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me at a loss for words. However, the skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brain theory? Let's just climb through it now. Just prove it in front of everyone. Both Mr. McGilded and Mr. Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by somebody falling through the floor. To the floor. Oh my god. It was one of the guys on the roof. They stabbed him and then pushed him through the skylight. Through the skylight.
Yes, which has already been explained.
It's probably the guy that owes McGilded money.
As the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with a dagger.
Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witness described? A loud noise enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact.
Good gracious.
Perhaps, in fact, that there was a moment that the victim made... that was the moment the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
Now you're suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but... Might a humble fellow make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellows who were sat on the roof that testified before said nothing about the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that's not so much a case of them not saying, but... Aye. There's a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason to not mention what happened. Would you not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Humph.
Oh my goodness, surely not. The two chaps on the roof? Oh, she's going mad on it.
You mean the ones who stuck their knife in the man were?
Ah! The back. Oh god, what voice did I give him? I think it was just a general, like, deep voice, wasn't it? Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer?
Oh, you're right. You're right, he said. You right. What are you insinuating?
What was that animation? This is a flaming outrage. I have a mind to give you a blinker in a minute.
He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I.
Mr. Fairplay, you're definitely accusing me, a city gentleman and a well-respected banker.
And me, a very angry hatter.
Simply suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms.
That's right, I protest too. And about you, you rotten scoundrel.
Order, order, order. This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once.
But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous.
It's very hurtful, you know.
My lord, if I may comment.
Go ahead, Lord Von Zieks.
It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof.
Accuse? I never intended to.
It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars, and you have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, this is what is termed a baseless accusation.
I know I was rash to put the idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get him to...
this knife's stuck in really hard. Testify.
I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid my eyes on the fellow. I have to see this matter through now, one way or another.
There's filth and rubbish in our midst. We must dispose of it at once. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The spectators in the public gallery they're in a complete frenzy.
Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First.
My lord?
You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Indictment.
Yes, my lord.
I didn't come here for this.
There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. Okay, before we do this, I actually need to take a bathroom break, so I will be back in a couple of minutes. Won't be too long. Alright, we're back. Okay. Refuting the accusation.
We were the only two people on that roof deck, dead or alive, I can swear to that.
If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one of the other of us would have noticed?
In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man.
The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it.
If you are so sure that the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof?
I must say that on listening to the testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine how either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck, or that the other noticing forthwith.
Or the driver, to be honest.
That's right, as you see. That's right, you see.
We're innocent, I tell you.
Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another.
What?
Huh?
According to the according to the investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings.
Yeah. Well, I just don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking wretch. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy?
Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Okay. So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck? Absolutely not, Dickon.
No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here.
Is that true, Mr. McGilded?
Dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and I nodded off inside it almost immediately.
That's an outrageous lie.
But without a doubt you were engaged in. Just gotta check. Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all?
Nah.
It's all about evidence in the court these days, so it is. You do well to remember that.
Ugh.
I saw you. With my own eyes.
This is going so well. Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly.
Is this some kind of lark?
Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is that what this is?
Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly.
Are you fair dinkum, sir?
Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you.
I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in the bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you would never open them again.
That's extreme.
It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked.
I'm dreadfully sorry about that young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all.
That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone.
It's very insistent about that. Oh, it was a cold night it was. People do be seeing things that aren't really in the cold. It's hardly surprising.
Seeing things? Seeing things?
I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point.
You!
Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then it's only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what capitalist society is all about.
This isn't a competition I would like to be involved in, really.
Neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man.
Well, that seems like a lie.
You've never met thrice-fired Mason before?
Oh, Lummel, no. Not even once. Never.
I never met the man before, he said. Never.
And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either?
That's right, sir. I don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir.
No, I imagine not.
You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentleman.
Excuse me.
What are you laughing at? Mr. McGilded? Yes, counsel. What can I do you for? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow? Not the remotest connection. Is that right now, I wonder?
What are you insinuating now?
Ah, Mr. Fairplay. It has been too long, so it has.
Eh?
I'm not very much mistaken. I believe it is fast approaching, is it not? Your payment date.
I beg your pardon.
You borrowed 20 guinea from me, sir.
That's an inconsiderable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion.
Well now, is that a touch of begrudgingry? Is it? A sort of begrudgingry that might motivate a fellow to pass off his crime on another? And young Mr. First.
Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir?
You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top of hat sliding on your head, is that one of your own creations, is it?
Oh, well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand? I'm learning to find me perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door.
Perfect fine fit, is it? Well, 'tis very distinctive design, so it is.
Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch.
Customers, such as Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason.
Uh,
There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence of fraud, my lord.
Oh, this you mean?
Can't help think that the poor fellow's hat looks distinctly familiar, won't you say?
oh. That's one of my hats.
Aye, it is. So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. That sort of customer admired you. You could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods.
No, sir. Absolutely not, sir.
Well, there's really nothing more to add. I wouldn't be right to say that these two fellows here haven't even the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case.
You little weasel.
He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilded has certainly been through his research, hasn't he? Has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Please, don't let my little interruption hold up the proceedings. Hat Hunter! Okay, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for an opportunity to look into the hat. Okay, press, let's follow this through to its original conclusion rather than the one we just went through with McGilded.
That's right. If it's about motive, we had none.
No motive.
And, well, that's not all, is it?
Okay. Skylight was shut the entire time. Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time?
I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute.
He's gonna lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said.
Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see, it's shut fast now, just like it was on the night.
So it is, of course, a fellow the size of Mr. Mason could likely break through it. Break right through it, still and all.
What?
Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand.
Now hold it there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we?
Let's stop biting our cane, shall we?
I was riding on the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind loudly and I shocked myself with it, as it happens.
This isn't an expected confession, Mr. First.
Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. Went as red as a rouge, I did.
Are you expecting me to sentence you?
Oh, no, sir, the point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was in that cabin of shame.
Oh, was one of the other people... Skylight isn't open, you say? I thought she... Oh, I'll have to double check that.
So that proves it. We couldn't have kicked the victim down into the cabin below, I tell you. Neither of us could.
Nobody mentioned anything about kicking anyone. Like I said, these details are little nuggets at best. It's the mother lode we should be looking for. Let's press that again. 'Cause I think she did. Yeah, let's go.
Wait.
Yeah, there we go. She did have a...
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade. It opens. Hmm? The skylight. It's what we're talking about, isn't it? All them skylights open. Dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon.
That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, I...
You can't do it from the inside, you mug.
Oh.
Look, a few weeks ago I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great haul, I had purses coming out of my ears.
Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to eulogize on the subject of your criminal activities.
Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was, I used the skylight, opened the catch, and jumped right through. What? Yeah, there's a catch for them skylights on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck?
Bailiff? Climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims. Ah.
Oh, my heart.
See? Can a bailiff take the gun off her? The smoke gun. She did steal that from the army.
So, it appears that the street girl's statement is quite true.
I don't believe it. The skylight opens. From the roof deck. Yeah, we already figured that out ourselves. Mr. Naruhodo. This could be the clue we're looking for.
Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Examine. So the skylight was fastened shut before. But now the catch has been undone, we should be able to open it. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure.
Yes, there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witness would have been able to see quite clearly.
It's not good for us. Can we not... if we go inside and then take a look. Oh, hello.
Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone you like, wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo.
Why someone like me?
Ah,
what is it?
look, just here, look at this. That's
without question.
it's blood.
Why would there be bloodstains there?
Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it?
There's a bloodstain visible in the frame of the skylight open. That's what we needed.
Objection!
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible on the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug. You can't possibly have any evidence.
You can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you, it's impossible.
Irrefutable proof here in this courtroom.
Counsel,
Yes, my lord.
I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here, Where exactly within the omnibus is the evidence to which you allude? You'll point out what it is that proves the victim fell through the roof deck through the skylight.
It's all the blood. Other side.
Got it!
Got it.
By Jupiter, is that blood?
The bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open.
What?
And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening.
Oh my.
And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime.
No.
No.
Order.
But blood could surely have sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin.
And only found its way into that one particular spot on the skylight. Sure, that would be very convenient. And let's keep it in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. And myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I? But. There's no way of knowing for certain, is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? It is all too plain if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fellow dropped from a far height. Right there, so it is.
What? No.
But it can't be. It's all lies.
My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof that the defendant's innocence, can't we?
I believe we can, yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom.
So they thought they could pull the wool over our eyes, did they? I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it.
Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing.
On 3 then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I knew he was going to pull some shit. A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, what do you be referring to now there, Lord Van Zeeks?
A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void.
What? Why?
For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection!
It is a different colour than the blood on the seat. Was this all done as during the distraction when all of the stuff inside the hiding space got stolen? Planted evidence. What are you talking about? It's there for all to see. It's clearly blood.
Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus, and the officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety, no such smear of blood existed in the carriage. At least, not until this trial began.
But are you suggesting, Lord Van Zeeks, that this stain of blood was...
Fabricated, my lord, yes, and while the court has been in session.
What?
What a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning to come from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Zeeks. Was I Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life? I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey.
Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am very aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great number of affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts.
Adapt the facts? What does that even mean?
When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir.
Tut, Lord Van Zeeks. This will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel? No. I think it's fair play to say this doesn't sound like rather a far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if yous will all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife knowing? Isn't that right now, counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time that the court's been in session.
My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words.
As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during the trial? If you're asking me, I think
could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best as I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. I think we're going to lose this trial. I think he is guilty. And like the good outcome is for him to face his justice. I think that's going to impress Zeke's and what was his name? Strongheart. Because we searched for the truth of the matter rather than just trying to get an innocent verdict. There's no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility.
Oh, good gracious. Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit.
Deceit?
I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take. As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade.
What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody. Clear the courtroom.
The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus.
Hey Gina, can we take a look inside of that bag? Is there like a jar with blood in it?
Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten feckless gouger? Feckless? Gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. This is a wicked plot. It is a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus.
Inconsistencies, such as...
To start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. It's also a different color of blood too, so it hasn't like aged as much as the actual blood stain.
Unfortunately, Lord Van Zeeks, no one is able to corroborate your claims.
That's true. When the omnibus first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and skylight were shut. Yeah, it doesn't show the floor. Okay.
Accordingly, I'm afraid to say, we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is a result of tampering or not.
Indeed, my lord. No doubt there is not a single person who saw fit to verify such things.
What do you think?
Sorry?
About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? Was there anything else unusual about it?
Other than, like, the coloration in the blood. Yeah, I think the coloration in the blood's the only thing I can think of. My lord.
Yes, counsel.
There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial.
What?
What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare to betray me, you little maggot, you better start watching your back.
Silence, Mr. McGilded. The court awaits the defense's clarification.
This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's the deception. What am I supposed to believe here?
I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. Where exactly is the alleged mark that you claim appeared at some point during the trial?
I guess it'd be this blood, wouldn't it? Okay, yep. I don't have the option to reopen the seed, which is what I was trying to look at. I don't care about this conversation. There's nothing on the handle there. I guess it would be this one. Because if they smeared the blood on there, it would have dripped down to here.
Got it!
If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom.
Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel.
Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue.
I believe that the bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether the evidence is genuine, or whether it's an unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that that's at least a possibility, that the evidence is fake. Oh, he's going to be so mad. Yep, there he goes. This trial is over. Mr. McGilded? I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but it is all over now. But you're the defendant. It is over, I tell you. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, it's all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there, now. Well, over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing reaping of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better of Lord Van Zeeks. Well, my lord.
I must concur with the defendant. The uninformed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, The peculiar bloodstain in question is very much in existence. And in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper of this trial to continue.
Your lordship can't be serious.
Lord Van Zieks, what is your position?
The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidences to present.
Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed with my adjudication. As a formality, I, of course, obliged to confirm with the defense first.
What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty.
Yes.
Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now, with all these unexplained inconsistencies?
Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please.
Yes, my lord. The defense believes I am here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment in time, I cannot, in all good conscience, attest fully to my defendant's innocence.
What are you saying, man?
Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent.
Good gracious me. Order, order. This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused innocence into question. Are you of sound mind?
Oh, it was a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision. What? I must say, I didn't expect quite as much exciting I didn't expect quite such an exciting spectacle as at the end here, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Your job here is done, fella. Some fine work you've done, so you have.
What do you mean?
It is just the right honourable gentleman so succinctly put it, for the trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statements there was... Did he just flick the button off the dude's jacket towards me? Or was that an actual coin? I need to... And your closing statement there was... How did you put it now? Nothing more than a formality.
I really don't know what to make of all this.
Was evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said. Nothing. The second-rate draw is guilty of something. You, mark my words.
I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us such a lovely park.
Now the proceedings have unfolded in this way. I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea.
I thank you kindly, my lord.
I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth.
Lord Van Zieks,
My lord.
the case made by the prosecution is flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place.
My sincerest apologies, my lord.
But wait. When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Zieks ordered the evidence to be secured.
I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter.
That's so unfair.
The culpability of the defendant has not, at present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer a judgment.
What? Well, Lord Van Zieks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fellow, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time?
'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, we can always go ahead and try and change the law.
Magnus McGilded.
Good grief, you got more to say to me, have you?
Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over.
Well, something to be looking forward to then.
I pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, not guilty.
Why fireworks in the courtroom? That's so irresponsible. Can't believe it. This is an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent. With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. And my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty. Ostensibly a victory for us. Someone's going to just yell objection? I'll hold it. Oh, really? Okay. Is this really how we're ending this case? That certainly was a long trial. Yeah, it was. Your first ever trial in foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Mrs. Sato, thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who is actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim for the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. I assume it's Magnus. Yeah. Mr. McGilded. Ah, and that girl is with him too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 erroneous fireworks they be letting off. When there's about the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Ah, yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, to be sure it was. And I've you to thank, I suppose, for having the opportunity to see it. Wahaha. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm sure I really did. I'm not really sure. I'm
I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk here? What? How did I walk out of here a free man then? I don't think it was much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray for the head. You had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. It is water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. Nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh? Aye. They've all seen that I didn't do any... They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and abhorrent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters into hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolutely faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all that taxes I pay. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed beforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Ah, you be waste. You're humble people, you are. You from the east. Well, if you insist. But have this, still and all. You deserve a reward. Mr. McGilded. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I'd be led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There are some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding citizen, upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help where I can. It is a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope you have the will of a time there studying in Great Britain. And there he goes, a free man. Oh, forgot she was here too. Oh, no. Somebody take that off her. Don't move. Well, I was having to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. What? And I hate all grown-ups. Ah, there you are. Oh. Okay, I wasn't expecting this. Fuck, what advice do I give her? Naughty, running off like that. No, that's not, that voice sucks. Is this some kind of picnic? Who is this little girl now? I'm taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. Well, I'm the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor? Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all?
I took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon.
I tell her what's it what? I have no idea what this girl is talking about.
Anyway, you're coming with me now, back to my laboratory.
What? What for?
To apologize, of course, silly, to my technician.
What? You mean, say sorry?
You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. I'm sure an adult has told you that before.
An adult? I don't listen to no adults.
Then come along then, follow me.
Fine, have it your way.
Oh good. You see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end.
I'm fairly sure that she wants to not get shot by that massive gun of yours. And about.
We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm sorry for all the fuss.
I'm sure we will see you in the next case. She was a lively one.
Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too?
Yes, you're right, but where to?
Oh.
We haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner than we arrived in London and we had to rush here. All our travelling cases are still with the bailiff.
I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings. But at this late hour of the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. If worse comes to worse, I heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night.
Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park.
I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through.
I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night might freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one.
Oh dear. That doesn't sound agreeable.
Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room, or mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. And just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over.
What's going on?
Get the fire brigade!
Oh shit.
What? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating.
Oh shit, someone in it.
No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
This can't be.
Oh, Von Zeeks. What's happening? Was McGilded inside of that? Oh man, that's 2 trials now. Like the first trial and this one where we've had weird outcomes where it's not been. I wonder if the final trial is going to tie them all together. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro is the next one. Okay. I wonder if the trials are gonna tie into each other. This was just for the second game, wasn't it? Yeah. That looks so goofy on him. That one's alright. That's alright. Escapades. At Naruhodo's legal consultancy. Oh. Natsumi's room, Briar Road, Bailey. Also, the second game's still in London as well. Huh. Okay. British Supreme Court. Episode. This escapade includes spoilers about the first game's story. Okay. Okay. British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office. Here we are again. Every time we visit here, the atmosphere in this place seems to get more and more overbearing. Just to think, we could be at home with Mr. Sholmes and Iris having... Okay, no. So when does that one take place? That seems to take place after... Okay, have a look. Great is attorney. And the defense and ship. So it only says about the first game, the story of the first game, but it doesn't specify when in the first game. I assumed it would be like after the third chapter, the third episode, or the third case even, because these two were both after the first two, but this one, okay. Okay, so I guess we'll skip this escapade then? And now we'll see about... let's see if I can find like a playing order. Okay. Okay, escapade 1 after playing the first case before the second one, which is what we did for that one. Second one is after case 1-1 before case 1-2, but we watched it afterwards because, yeah, why not? Didn't seem to make a difference. Okay, 3, 4, and 5. After case 1-4, before case 1-5. So we actually need to watch all 3 of these after the next case. Okay. 6 is after... Oh, 6 is after as well. So we have like 4 escapades in a row to watch after the next case. And then 7 and 8 take place after the final case. Okay, okay. I thought these were going to be spread across... the first game's story. Okay. So the escapades are just for the first game. Okay, okay. Fair enough. I understand now. In that case, we won't be watching an escapade. That'll be saved for after the next case. So, with that case down, we are done. Things are getting interested. There's 2 different cases with plot threads still outstanding. Hopefully they'll get tied up in the next case or the last one, but we'll see. But yeah, I imagine we'll be investigating that whoever was killed inside of the omnibus next, probably. But yeah, that is going to be it for today. I'm kind of glad there's not whatchamacallem escapade, because my throat's starting to get a little burnt out. So I'm happy for an early end. But yeah, that is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Bye.